All right. Hello, everyone. So I am Annette from Nettersplays, and I'm here with Mandy and Caryl, and we are going to talk about games that are educational today. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Mandy, I kind of introduced you already, but who are
That's
you?
okay. So, for those who don't recognize me, I legitimately look like I just rolled out of bed. That's okay. It's Sunday. So, so my name is Mandy. I also known as the board gaming pinup girl. I have a YouTube channel with Caryl and a few others called To Die Board Games on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm everywhere. And most recently, I was a Dice Tower contributor doing the Dice Tower podcast every second week with Suzanne Sheldon.
Yay, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
That's a big step.
It's a big step, and that's probably why I look like this, because I'm tired and I want to make it awesome. So hopefully we'll get into our groove, but I think it's doing really well.
Yeah, it is. I've listened to a couple of them, so two of them actually.
Oh, thank
So
you. That's
yeah,
awesome. It's nice to have
definitely.
support from everyone. Seriously, everyone for the
Mhm.
most part has been like fantastic. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah. If you
Yeah.
haven't yet, hear the bumpers. They're hilarious.
It was 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like getting a little crazy. I thought they were funny, but yeah.
I'm specifically talking about the ooh, look at that.
Yeah.
Can I
Yeah.
tell you? Suzanne was like, "Oh my gosh." She was like, "I'm dying, Mandy," and I'm picturing you saying that as you're looking on Kickstarter. Oh gosh, you guys are hilarious.
Yeah. And Carol, so if you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so like Mandy said, I'm part of To Die For, where I do some animation and also some reviews with To Die For Games. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as at Carol Has No Tan. And guess what? Spoiler, I actually do have a tan.
That's it. You have to change your handle now.
Well, it doesn't look like a tan is a thing, and I didn't realize how bad it looks on camera, but this is like a pasty white, and this is like already kind of light. But
Well, it counts.
yeah.
So, just before we continue, someone's saying they don't have audio. I have audio on because I have it open in another screen.
Hmm.
But let me just see if somebody else.
Sure.
Uh, Okay. Can you guys check? Do you mind?
No,
Like,
I
I just
don't
have it open
mind.
in another screen, so I usually mute it so I can keep an eye on it. And I just turned it up, and it's saying that there is audio. Like, I turned up the volume, and I have audio. But if you guys could just do another check, so we want everyone to hear
So,
us.
So I just went into the video right now. I can hear
You
you
can
like
hear it.
from like
Okay,
15
so
seconds
audio is
ago.
fine. So thank you,
can you hear
JYT74. Thank
me
you very
too?
much. So audio is good. It's
Okay.
so James, I'm sorry. So maybe do a restart. Let me know if you're having more problems because we'd love to have you in the chat. So sorry
Right.
about that. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
Oh
Caryl.
no, it's
Oh
okay.
no, that's all right. I forgot what we were talking about.
Story of our lives. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about educational games or games that we've learned from. And I actually posted a couple of Twitter questions and I got a lot of feedback from it. So,
Great. I'm
but
so happy.
before we get in, yeah, I'm so glad that like people are actually a part of this and trying to contribute too. But
Hmm.
before we get into the main subject, well, we should probably talk about some games that we've actually been playing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, if anyone wants to start, if anyone's excited about talking about a game that they've recently played. You look pretty excited, Mandy.
So that's because yesterday was like game day from like morning till 2, actually morning to morning. So like 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning. So I won't go through all of them,
Wow.
but Clank in Space was when we got to the
Oh,
table.
cool.
And I liked it. Like, space is not a theme that I really, it's not a theme that I generally will go toward, but it's like, okay,
Mhm.
let me give it a try. And of course, everyone's excited because I don't think it's out yet. So everyone's like, hey, let's play this one. So it has a
Yeah.
modular board, which is cool because you can piece it together. I didn't like the fact that it's a puzzle piece, though. I think I would have preferred if it was one that slid together because I think
Hmm.
after time
Okay.
that's going to wear. But the elements of the game, I mean, it's obviously very similar to the original Clank, so you're trying to get your artifacts, try not to wake the dragon too much to get Clank in the bag, which in essence, when you pull it out, is giving you damage, but that still exists. But there are other ways to get around the board. Like I forget the exact terminology, but you have these almost like, I don't know, it's the teleport areas. And so I think it's like the crystal caves, I think. Something like that. No, that might be different. Anyway, they have these little, like, they look like the crystal caves, but they're not. You go on the space and you can transport to like another part of the board. So I'm like, that's so cool. And then they have this thing.
I think it's called a teleporter.
Is it a teleporter?
I think so.
I don't know. Whatever. You teleport. And then it has this other thing. Well, you've played it, Caryl, as well. It's I don't know what they're called, but they have little arrows on it.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like a conveyor belt. That's what I call it. But I don't know what it's actually called. I forgot.
I don't know what the technical name of it is, but it's cool because it lets you move across. But there are a lot more locks on the board, I find, and even movement. There's a lot more 2 movement, so you need 2 movement versus 1. Oh my gosh! And then there's ways to get like these crystals, the blue crystals. Those are really cool.
Yeah.
Yes, and those are the things that allow you to teleport.
Oh,
so
cool.
Which is really neat. And trying to think what else. There's a few other elements that are not in Clank, but for the most part, it's the same game with a few added bits. Does that make sense?
So do you like it better than Clank?
Yeah.
Or?
I think it will play better with 2 because
Okay.
I didn't like the original one with 2. I found the original one with 2 was for me, but I love thematically, I prefer the first one, but I do like the extra elements in the second one. So it's one of those games, like, if you have the first one, you don't really need the second one, but you want it because it has those other bits.
Yeah, I still haven't played Clank at all. And
what?
I know. No. And it was, for some reason, I was like, oh, you know, I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to get it because there's going to be several expansions and I want to pick and choose. And now there's like a whole new different world of Clank. And I'm like, okay. And it's space theme. Like, that's my thing. So
yes. Definitely for you. I think you should definitely, if you get one, it would be the space one would be the one for you for sure. 100%.
The cards are hilarious too.
I know.
Yeah, there's so many allusions to all like these space things. Like you have like the aliens from like Avatar and then all these references to, like Star Wars and
the
stuff.
Doctor? Yeah, the doctor that gives you the heart and it looks like it's like the mean doctor or something.
The one where it's like something like where you boldly go, that one? Yeah.
No. There's a doctor and it's called the cranky doctor. So whoever I'm sorry, I didn't really watch Star Trek. Like I watched it, but not like I don't remember the names, but whoever the cranky doctor was.
Yeah, Bones.
Yeah, so that's literally who it looks like, kind of. So it alludes to things like that, which is really cool. So even I can get it, and I'm not like a huge Trekkie or anything like that, and I was able to get it. So Clank in Space, and I'll give you one more that I played. It's one that I had played before. Oh my gosh, there's 2. Okay, well, I'll do this one. Well, I played Scott Pilgrim with Caryl. Yeah. That was last week, so that's one. I won't go too much detail about that one, but Whistle Stop.
Oh. Okay.
So Whistle Stop by Bezier Games. I really like this one. Honestly, when you put it out, there's so many pieces. You're like, oh my gosh, this game's like crazy. It's not difficult. So it's not a difficult game, but the strategy of trying to figure out how to beat everyone else is what the problem is. So this happened. It's funny because this happened in the version we played. So you're basically trying to, you know, create tiles of rail so you can get to the end to finish these tiles that give you bonus points. So basically your victory points, they give you extra, some of them give you extra resources because you get to put your train on a little space that gives you coal or whistles or resources. And the coal allows you to take actions. Whistles are great because it allows you to take, you know, move backwards or take, you know, 2 spaces versus 1. Anyway, so you have a whole bunch of tiles on the board that are giving you resources in order to finish those end tiles to get those points. And someone in the game did exactly what Daryl did, Caryl, in our game, and kind of made a path where he's continually getting resources and taking that like high point objective. And I was like, yeah, someone else in our game did this and they didn't win. And he's like, why? I'm like, because you didn't diversify your portfolio. I would highly recommend that you get some stocks. So if he hadn't done that, he would have lost. So he got the stocks and he won, but he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you told me to do that. I'm like, well, I mean, I wanted it to be fair, you know? You don't want to, I mean, I totally could have figured out a way to just be like, let him keep doing that and take the stocks. But anyway, so I really like the game. I mean, I still haven't really won. I was in second place this time. Woo! But I mean, it's fun, so I don't care so much. But I don't know if that's out. It launched at Gen Con.
I think it's really good just coming out. Yeah.
So
I haven't seen it at the store.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I didn't go to Gen Con, so all these games I've heard about, they're just not at retail right now. So I'm just like anticipating for them. I'm actually being annoying because I'm calling my like local store and just asking like every week, like, hey, do you have this? Like, nope. And then the thing is, they always change like the dates.
Yes.
So,
Yes. So I'll
yeah.
stick with that because I played a lot. I know Caryl will probably, I could be wrong, talk about custom heroes because I taught that as well last night.
I wasn't actually, but
Oh.
maybe I will.
I'll throw it over to you if you want to talk about it, but custom heroes is so much fun. But I'll leave it if Caryl wants to talk about that.
Yeah, I can tell you about that one. Okay. I've played this multiple times since Gen Con just because of how much it surprised me. But custom heroes, it's part of that line that AEG created where you craft your own cards. So like Mystic Veil, that was the very first one, right? And Mystic Veil is more like about engine building. Custom heroes is trick taking. So it's sort of like in Hearts where like you'll play like pairs, singles, triples, whatever, and you can customize your cards to change the number. So let's say it's a 1 and you give it a +3, it's now a 4. So you can create like, 3 of a kind of 4s to try and win the trick. And it's just so unpredictable and chaotic because you don't know what kind of power-ups or upgrades people have. So it's just so fun, and it's so funny to see because you visually see on the card the upgrades. Like they all have everyone in like the same pose, like not like that, but like this or something. And then they'll put like a sword in their hand if it's like a plus something, and then if it's like a minus something, like you're gonna make 9. Yeah, it's like cabbage or a sandwich or like those big foam fingers. And it's just so funny to look at. Oh my god, it's okay. I have to say it's my favorite trick taking game right now. It's so much fun. Oh my god,
it's fun. You can try it. It's good.
Yeah, I actually saw it at the store, but I've been playing like The Fox in the Forest recently.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I've really been enjoying it because it's for 2. And I was just wondering, like, does Custom Heroes work for 2?
Yes, it actually does.
It does.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Because of the upgrades, it makes it work for 2.
Yeah, I played it with 2 with Michael. And Michael's like, okay, I want this game.
So good. And I love the fact that like when you create the cards, they just get shuffled back and then like dealt out for the new round. So like you like those are the new cards that you're playing with. This person who made like the 14 power card now can have it redistributed, and you can have like negative cards too. It's so wacky and fun. I love it.
It's great. I love it. What else did you play? I gave 2, so you have to do 2.
Yeah. It's hard to pick. I played a lot because Fan Expo was last week, and we crammed a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Let me pick one. Okay. I'm tied between wanting to talk about Godfather and Downforce.
Okay, both good.
I played Downforce last week.
Okay. I won't touch Downforce then. I'll talk about Godfather. So I learned Godfather, the Eric Lang game, the one from Cool Mini or Not, the first time Friday, I think. It's a worker placement game. I had no idea. I really had no idea. But it's a worker placement that is straightforward. So like I've heard a lot of people compare it to like Lords of Waterdeep, and it kind of reminds me of that a little bit because you have like missions and you need to collect certain resources to complete it, and it gives you like a power to I don't know, to have a car bomb and like kill a bunch of workers in one spot. Or a drive-by shooting, like Godfather, right?
It's thematic. Is that what you're telling me?
It is thematic and it's interactive because not a lot of worker placements can, you don't really get that much interaction with it. Like the most interaction I can get is placing something somewhere that someone wanted, and that's really it. Right. Like this one, your person could be there, and next minute you know it, they're floating around in the Hudson Bay. And that's literally where to put like dead workers. That's where to put it. But anyways.
What is with us and death on this show? Seriously?
It's not a touchy subject for me. I'm comfortable talking about a lot of things. But anyway, it's a really straightforward worker placement where you can have like your workers going to these shops to shake down like the front of the business, and then there's like backs of the business too, which is where you send like your influential figures to get it. And then oh, how do I explain it? It's hard to explain because like there's fronts and backs going on at the same time, and it's not just, you know, you place your thing here and then you get it, because you have to be very aware of like the territories, because you can connect them by their different turfs and stuff, and that's where like your influential ones come into play, because like you have two different workers. You have like the thugs and you have like the higher up people. It plays really quickly, and I love the fact that there's like these little tins that you have, because you're trying to collect the most money to win, right? So you need to use an action to be able to put your money in the tin. Otherwise, anything in your hand doesn't really count for the end of the game. And like they always try and make sure you cut down your hand, and then yeah, super thematic. And I love that you can interact with players and, you know,
knock them off.
Yes.
It's on my list, this one, to play, because I don't have it. And I know Eric Lang, we were at an event and he's like, I have it, like I want to show you guys. And then we just all got really busy and we didn't have a chance to sit down and play it, but it was on my list and I had heard really good things about it. Like I heard it was like a Lords of Waterdeep or that type of game and level of game. So I was like, okay, it'd be interesting, because I love Lords of Waterdeep. So I'm happy to hear that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked it. I definitely see that they're probably making room for expansions, to be honest. Okay. For us, I guess, who's more used to like mid-weight and heavier games, it may not like challenge you all that much, because it is very simple, but I find it super thematic.
Cool.
Very cool. All right, Annette, what did you play?
Well, I got into this game called Innovation.
And
so I started playing Innovation Deluxe. It's an older game, but it's a deluxeified version where it has like 4 expansions included in the base game. So Mitch and I have been enjoying that one. And when I first played it, it gave me the same feeling that Race for the Galaxy gave me. And that's like the feeling that I got when I played. It's just like, as soon as it was done, I was like, okay, this is a game that I'm going to have for several years. Like, this is the game we're going to grow old to. Because awesome. Like so many cards and you can play them in so many different ways that I just really like the card play of it. And it's something like you really are going to take advantage of the cards if you know them well. So if, you know, just starting off with the base game and eventually upgrading towards the expansions, then I could see like just this game being around for a long time. Yeah, I really enjoyed the gameplay. Yeah,
very cool. I think I have it and I've never played it.
Oh, you should play it. I mean, if you like card play games, like games with a lot of interweaving between cards,
okay,
then you should definitely check that one out. But okay, I really like those type of games. It's like kind of challenging.
So you're saying it has like already like multiple expansions?
Yeah, it has 4 of them. So it has 4 different expansions. So the game itself I don't know if I would play it with more than 2 players.
Okay.
But it's about like, it's a civ game. So you're trying to go from the prehistoric age all the way up to the information age. And so you're collecting these cards and then you keep on moving up and up and up. So you collect like higher grade cards, and then eventually, you know, you get really powerful, and you can use cards in multiple different ways. You can use them to either play in front of you, or you can use an action to take a card, draw a card, or you can use an action to play the action that's of one of the cards that's in front of you, or you can use an action to like claim an achievement.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So lots going on. Are they like multi-use cards? Like, do they have? Yeah. Okay, I was assuming so.
And they fan out too. So they like, if you have them in a stack, then you can fan them out, and then you'll have like even more abilities. So yeah, it kind of grows. It's like an engine builder in a way, but it's also cutthroat. So it's yeah. So I know like with Race for the Galaxy, it's like you're in a race and you're doing your own thing, and someone else is doing their own thing.
Yeah.
But in innovation, it's like you're doing your own thing, but you can also destroy their cards.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah.
Sounds like a game Caryl would like.
Yeah, and it's, I've heard a lot of people say it's kind of difficult to get into, and I didn't think so. I think it was it kind of flowed. Yeah. And then the
Sounds
other
good.
game that I also wanted to talk about is Downforce. So since you mentioned it, I might as well talk about it. So our friend came over last week and he went to Gen Con and he brought over a whole bunch of games. And Downforce was one of the ones that we played because there was 6 of us. And so we're like, okay, let's play this big like 6-player board game. And Downforce was really fun. Like it was super easy to understand and get into. Like I really honestly wasn't paying attention to the rules because I was hosting. So I was like running and, trying to do these other things. And I sat down on the table and like, I'm that person. I was like, okay, what's going on? Like after they explain the rules.
Exactly. I've been there.
But, yeah, I know. And I hate being that person, but I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, you have to. So we have James online saying Downforced must buy. Yes, we've all played it. And I think we can say yes.
Yeah. It's a great game. Like, honestly, if you have a big group of people and you want to make sure they're playing this one game where it's kind of, it's not overbearing, where it's like, doesn't make it like difficult to understand what's going on, anyone can jump in. And what you're doing is just making bets. And, you have a card that you're trying to move forward, but just because that card is your card doesn't mean you want to bet on it because it might be slow.
Yes. Sabotage from the other players.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. It's a lighter game. It's not something that you're going to break your head over, but when you have a big group of like 6 players, you really don't want those kind of games either.
Yeah, exactly. And it plays quickly, right? Like people want to, you get in, play, have fun, have a good laughs, and then move on to another game. Like that's why people like it. It's a large group game, but it plays quickly.
Yeah. And it turned out to be like a game where a lot of us were actually betting on the same cars. Like towards the end, and we're like, okay, everyone just bet on the same cards. And it ended up being like whoever's car was first won.
Yeah. That's funny.
So yeah, we're like, oh, okay, this is fun.
Oh, too much. That's awesome. Very cool. Good choice. I approve.
Cool. So getting back, I guess, I don't know if there's any other games you want to talk about, but we should probably get into the main theme of our chat.
Yeah.
And that is pretty much games that educate, or educational games, games that we've learned from. So just to make it clear, and just to kind of let everyone know what we mean by a game that educates, it's pretty much a game where it has a theme that involves history, science, math, culture, or anything like that. Also, where the mechanics is something new that we have to learn, and we have to learn to strategize, and we have to learn how to kind of see how the game develops and flows, and also learn how we play with each other. So it's just games that in general where we are basically trying to learn how to become a better gamer and learn how to, what the theme is all about too. So it falls under all that realm of educational games.
Exactly.
So then the first question I guess I'll go over is, what is a recent game that has encouraged you to research more about the topic or the theme?
I'm going to need a minute for that one.
Okay, that's fine.
So I'm gonna go first and say that Castles of Mad King Ludwig, or it was actually Palaces technically, and it's because I played it at Gen Con, and the person teaching us gave the little tidbit that a lot of the rooms in Castles of Mad Kid were actually based on the actual rooms, like the blueprints that he actually created for that particular castle. And that kind of got me wondering, like, oh, like there's more than just this crazy king who just, made his country bankrupt to make all these pretty palaces and whatever. And it started getting me reading more about him. And then I didn't realize he was called the Swan King too. And that kind of like, makes sense about the imagery with the swans and stuff. And I don't know, like you hear these things and you have all these like kind of assumptions, and it's like, he's known to be as the Mad King, right? And then you read more about it, and it's like, oh, there's actually more to it than just that kind of thing. And I don't know, I found it kind of cool. I like the fact that for a game about building castles, there actually is something historic based in it, and they didn't just go like, oh, this would be great for this strategy because you can't have this one next to this one like this. And it's actually more based on actual fact of the history behind it.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
Vassals of Mad King Ludwig.
Vassals?
Like, castles. Like, it's a really interesting game because it's based on a true story.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. But true stories, stuff based on true stories, those are always the most interesting, right? I find anyway. And
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in the comments if you guys don't mind just for a moment here.
Oh, yeah.
So Brazil we were having a little chat while you guys were talking here. He said timeline challenge would be his learning game. Paperback made me love word building because he wasn't too much of a fan of Scrabble. So I don't know what you guys think about that. I haven't played Timeline, but I know a lot of my coworkers have played it and they really enjoy it. And I could see the educational aspect. And Paperback, I love. I play it with my mom, but definitely great for word building. Really challenges the mind. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I really think that that's important, like to show younger kids like how these games are educational yet also fun too.
Yes.
I really enjoy Timeline. Like honestly, when I first played it, I was like, I don't want to do this history like game or whatever. But it was actually a lot of fun. You learn a lot from it too.
Right.
Mhm.
He also mentions photosynthesis. Now he's just talking about it's a quick gameplay, but he also said it's made from, I didn't know this actually, recycled cardboard.
I didn't know that either. That's awesome.
I had no idea. So, I mean, I don't know if that, I guess that technically would fit into sort of educational because now it's like, oh, cool, you learn more about the game that it's made of recycled materials, which I thought was great considering it's a game about trees and plants and things like that. So thematically it works.
Yeah, I was a little worried about that. I was like, okay, it's a tree game, and yet it's made out of trees. Yeah, I also did a Twitter feed and I asked the same question too. And I got a lot of feedback about that as well.
Okay,
And
cool.
so I got games like the Stephenson's Rocket, which is out on Kickstarter right now.
Oh, okay. I don't know this one.
Yeah, so it was Ruel Gaviola. He
Yep.
talked about that and how he learned about the actual locomotives because of that.
Very cool.
Researched. And I also got Spencer Kellis, who he mentioned that Manhattan Project, Lewis and Clark, Nations, Hansa Teutonica, and Madame Ching.
And I think a lot of these are based on like historical, like there are actual factual pieces of history in those games, or they talk about it anyway.
Right. It's a lot. There's a lot of history in these games, and this other person also, the Solo Story Gamer on Twitter, is also mentioned Navajo Wars.
Oh, I don't know this one.
Yeah, and Twilight Struggle was also mentioned by Nerds of Wisdom.
Right. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. I know for myself, I was looking at Robinson Crusoe. I know it's not super new, but it's one of those games. It's like, okay, you hear the name a lot, and I'm like, you know what, I want to find out a little bit more. So, I definitely know that he is shown as the protagonist, but we all know back in those days that, he was one of the people that were bringing slaves back, right? That was part of his expedition. So anyways, I delved into that a little bit because I'm really interested in that sort of history and that sort of stuff. So to me, that was a game I wanted to learn a bit more about the history of Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah, I don't know too much about his history. That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I know he's British, and I know that there was a period where he was making the expeditions to bring slaves from Africa back, but I think he ended up getting stuck, if I'm not mistaken, stuck on an island. And someone please correct me if I'm wrong. And ended up having to kind of interact with the natives of the islands. I know that he was definitely in Trinidad at one point. So, he falls into that category for me as what's the one with Pocahontas? John Smith?
Yeah, John
Yeah,
Smith.
yeah.
Something along those lines. So, I mean, there's probably a bit more to it than that, but generally, that's the type of kind of history I'm interested in because, in Disney, they make Pocahontas very pretty and nice, but, well, history wasn't so nice.
Right.
So I like to know what really happened.
Right. A
Yeah.
game that recently I just started researching and I found myself like looking into Wikipedia one night is Lisboa.
Oh,
So
Yes.
yes.
yeah. So I looked into the history of it and it's horrible.
Yeah.
Like the
It's pretty
actual
bad.
devastation that happened there, like that was just an actual effect. Like there was an earthquake outside of the shore of Lisboa or Lisbon, and then all
Mhm.
of a sudden there's like the day of or the day before, they were lighting a whole bunch of candles because I think it was All Saints Day.
Mhm.
And so the whole city was lit with candles. The earthquake happened, the candles got knocked over, everything was on fire,
That's
and
crazy.
then there was a tsunami. And so everyone was like escaping from the fire and running to the beach. And then the tsunami came and wiped them all out and destroyed all the buildings and infrastructure. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a horrible devastation. I know I'm Debbie Downer right now,
No,
but
no. Hey, I just started talking about other stuff that was really not good. So, I mean, but it's history, right? And we learn from
right,
it and it's interesting. That's what I
right.
think. So, no, I think it's very interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I learned a lot about that, and that's what these games are. It's like they're dry Euros sometimes, but they have a lot of history in them.
I agree 100%. And I think if you look into the history, then it enriches the game that much more for you. When you play it, you
Mhm.
understand it better. So
Mhm.
I know when I met Vital Lacerda, who designed Lisboa, and we had a little chat. So for people who don't know, I'm part Portuguese. So I'm like, we got the Portuguese connection. And so we started chatting, and he's very, when he talks about Lisboa, he likes to give the background. So exactly what you're talking about, the history.
Mhm.
And it's
Mhm.
important for him that he goes through the history before you play the game, because then you have that connection. You understand things better. And I have to tell you, once you hear it, it does make playing the game better. It's enriched for you, in my opinion. So then you understand, like, okay, I see why I would do this action because, in history, they talk about this. Like, it makes sense. Versus if you
Right.
just play it straight, you're a bit confused. Like, why would I do this?
Mhm.
Like, the action, this doesn't make sense to me. Do you know what I mean? So when he talks about it, because he talks about it and he wants to go very deep into it when he's explaining it. And I understand why he does that.
Right.
So,
Because he's so passionate about it. It's
he
his thing.
is. I felt bad in our interview. He was not happy that we had to cut it short. I'm like, I'm so
Oh.
sorry. So I could tell he really wanted to, to give more. And I get it. I totally understand. It makes it for a good story and understanding.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are some games that have encouraged us to kind of research too, but also is there a game that has taught you to become like a better gamer? Whether it be in the strategy or the interaction between players, like which game has taught you how to be a better gamer that you feel? Starting from like way back then when you were just a gateway gamer and up to now.
I think mine was probably Splendor.
Oh,
Yes.
really?
No. Okay. Before you make that face, Peony and I play very competitively with each other on Splendor for 2 players. So it's really cutthroat when it's both of us playing, because there are times where like one move away from like winning and the other person wins first, or like 2 moves away, and then there are times when like we can tell like, oh, I'm 5 moves away, you're 2 moves away, there's no point continuing, wrap it up, start over kind of thing, right? And that game has like the first time I played it, it was just slow for me. Like I was just buying all these things just because I felt like buying it, and I didn't really quite understand how to get the good right engine going. And like the more I played it, I think by the 5th or 7th time, I started to really understand like how to really get an efficient strategy going, because each move actually really counts and it really matters. Like she even got the app where you take those challenges and it's like, oh, beat the AI in less than 20 moves and stuff, right? And like you have to count that. You have to like know exactly like, okay, I need to do this, need to do this and this, and you only have 20 actions to ever do that. And she gets it done in like
Right.
15 or something. She's crazy.
Wow. That's so good.
But like that in itself has made me a better gamer because that's one of the earlier games that I ever played. And that kind of, I don't know, it's kind of helped me just filter out the useless stuff and just go for the things that are like, okay, I might as well just go for like the big card or like the big strategy for the big points and not even waste time on like the little ones. Like you go big or go home kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's kind of worked in other games, and that's just kind of what I've been going with lately.
Right. Hey, listen, that's good. And the fact that you're progressing, like you're able to test your abilities and see that you're getting better. Do you know what I mean? I think that's cool.
Yeah, because some games it's hard to tell if I'm getting better because I'm trying different things. Like Caverna, I still don't know what my best strategy is. It's like I feel like breeding animals this game, or I feel like building my cave this game. I have no idea which one's the better one. I just go for whatever I feel like in that one.
Yeah. So I'm just going to cut to the comments for a moment. James says, every game makes me better if playing with the right players.
For sure.
And also says that he agrees with engine building games have a unique way to make him a better gamer. So, and I think you're right in that. That is still a skill that I am working on. Engine building for me is difficult because it requires planning. And I have a hard time planning. That's my issue. I'm a reactive player. Do you know what I mean? Something happens and then I fix it when it happens versus... getting it started.
So you're a tactical player. That's the fancy way.
I like that. Reactive sounds so negative. So I'm gonna write this down. I like that.
Yeah. I feel a game that I've really learned from is Race for the Galaxy, but I already talked about that one a little bit.
We know you love it.
So it's no surprise, but but another game that I feel like has taught me a lot is Luna. And I'm not sure if you both have played that game.
Annette, it's a Feld, of course.
Yeah. But what I really liked about it, what it taught me is how to be a better planner. Like that game is all about planning because you can see your move, you can see everyone's moves, and you can kind of guess what they're best gonna do. And I don't know, I just feel like with that game, like that's my one game that I feel confident at. Like when I play, I'm like, okay, this is my confident game. I think I'm gonna win this one.
You need those games, seriously. Yeah. That's awesome. Very cool. I like Luna. Luna's a bit cutthroat.
It is like a lot of things you're always like intimidated by other players because
it's true.
You can see what they can do to you.
I like Luna. I know I had this conversation with Susan. She's like, yeah, I'm not. She's like, it's not her type of game. But I agree with you. I really like it. It's good for planning. Absolutely.
Yeah, planning it, and you see what other people are trying to do, and it's like, oh, good for you. You did something, that's positive for you, and I kind of hate you for doing that too.
But you learned your lesson for next time.
Right.
But I know for me, I played a lot of like when I was growing up, and I'm going back to old school, but like I used to play a lot of like mahjong, and I used to play like a lot of card games with my mom. I used to play chess like with my family. I'm not particularly great at chess, but I did play it. But yeah, card games were huge in my house, and trick-taking games were big. But poker, I used to play poker with my brothers. I was really good at it actually. But for me, those types of games taught me how to read people better.
Oh yeah.
So if I play a game with someone and I'm not, maybe it's an area of a game that I'm not 100% skilled in, I read people. I see, oh, I have an idea. I know exactly what this person's going to do. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So in that respect, I can kind of gauge what they're going to do and potentially have a reaction to that and kind of set myself to at least get myself in the game by seeing what they're doing. Like I'll know ahead of time. So for me, it's more that aspect. When I'm playing, I can definitely get a read for people of what they're going to do. So I think that's what those types of games that I've played have taught me. So I don't know if that's something that counts as.
No, it definitely counts. Like we forget about these games, that we played younger and that have been around forever.
Right.
They've taught us a lot.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm going to jump to the comments. Jeremy Howard, hello. Thank you for joining us. Trick-taking games is big right now, and it opens up novice and new people to the hobby. I got my mom to play games because of trick-taking. And honestly, that generation, it's huge. Like, who's played Hearts?
Yeah.
Like, that game's been around forever. But that's exactly it. A lot of people like trick taking. When I teach colleagues at work, it's usually a trick taking game I start with. They love it.
Yeah.
You know, it's fun. It's interactive.
Mhm.
It connects to something they've potentially played before. So I think that's awesome, you know. And yes, moms love trick taking. My mom loves it, and I think she loves it because she usually beats me. So that's a good call, Jeremy. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are games that you can easily relate to and show people and they understand it, you know, that aren't these gamers like we are, or, I don't know.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
different.
We're different. And yeah, and that's exactly what he said. Same with my lunch group, trick taking. Oh my gosh, Jeremy, we are
Mhm.
on the same page here. This is awesome. And James here, love poker definitely helps teach people's patterns and expressions. Exactly. So that's for
Yeah.
me. And I do this to Michael all the time. And Michael is on the channel and he used to work with casinos, so he's very familiar with these types of games. So I'm the type of person, oh, my hand, you know, it's not so good, you know, but I'm like, going to do what I can. And, you know, I look at his reaction and how he's playing, and it's usually like, bam. So it does help with expressions and reading people. So I agree.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I should probably do that more. I should probably read people more. Just stare at them.
Just look at them. Exactly. Oh, and we have Christopher. Oh, yay. The chat is hopping. I love this.
Oh, good.
Christopher Kyle, Codenames is a game that taught me to work better with a team and look at things more from their perspective than just mine.
Very true.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that one?
Definitely.
Yeah, like
I don't play. Oh, yeah, Caryl, I'll let you go.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was talking about the co-op, and I don't necessarily play a lot of co-op games, but it's also important to do that once in a while because, you know, you got to work with people sometimes, and sometimes you got to feel like, oh, okay, how am I going to figure this out? Not by myself, but maybe other people have better ideas than I do. So it leads to that team building.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good one, actually. And it's funny, my co-workers love that one, Codenames. They really enjoy it. And I could see why. It has that team building aspect to it. Jumping back to the chat here, someone mentioned, so Jeremy mentioned Unreal Estate, which I have played, and has poker and worker placement. So have you guys played that one?
No, I haven't.
It's by is it Gamers Guild? Oh, it's escaping my mind right now. But he also did they did Stroop.
Oh, okay.
Stroop is a mind bender. Holy lifting. That's a good one especially for people who need that brain exercise to work if you have memory issues or just recalling information. Stroop is a good one. But Unreal Estate, it's escaping me the gameplay because I haven't played it for a while. But yes, it definitely has a poker worker placement aspect, which we all love. Worker placement's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So, also, I guess, is there a theme or a mechanic that you'd like to learn more about, or have it portrayed in a game like the theme? Is there something you want to learn more or try to figure out some more?
Let's see. Let's go. Sorry, I'm just jumping in the card here. No. End of Trail. Okay, Jeremy, you have to explain. I don't know what End of Trail is. Unreal Estate is the one with the cards and you have to play them to the center. It's like a set collection, I think, more. Anyway, remind me if you have a chance. I played it a long time ago. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to remember the game. So sorry. Sorry, what was your question, Ned, there? I didn't mean to.
Oh, yeah. So what type of theme or mechanic would you like to learn more about or see it portrayed in a game?
I kind of want to see more deduction games that need card counting. And I'm saying that because I really like Sherlock Holmes. I know Mandy's making this fun at pace. But I've never card counted before, like in poker or any other card game that I've ever played. Maybe trick taking if it was like hearts or something. But I don't know for Sherlock because it's a have you guys played Sherlock Holmes?
No,
we played it, yeah.
Okay, it's basically like Hanabi, but it's more deduction driven than I played the wrong card. Oh no, kind of thing. Like you have a suspect and it's a possible animal and numbered 1 through 12, and there's only one of each possibility in the deck. And like in Hanabi, you'll see everyone else's card, so you can tell them, oh, your card is so and so and so and so based on cards they played, because you'll say whether it's a lead or a dead end, and it's a lead if it matches the animal, or if it matches the number plus or minus one of what it is. So if it's a 3 and they played a 4, it's a lead because it's one off from the actual number it actually is. And it's the first game where I've actually learned how to count cards, because it's a cooperative and competitive game.
Cool.
So cooperative in the way where you're telling people, oh, it's this card. Like, yes, it is. And competitive in the way where you need to have the most points to ultimately be the best detective. And I have never, ever counted cards ever before until this, because it just brings out some competitive side to me where I need to be like, okay, so there was a 2 frog that was played 5 turns ago. This person has like a 3 frog right in front of them, and this must be a 4 frog right in front of me, kind of thing. And I don't know, it's helped me a few times. But I really like games that kind of test your memory like that, and give you a certain attentiveness even when it's not your turn, because it's really easy to just shut off when it's a game like that and you're looking at what other people are doing, and then when it comes back to your turn, that's when like you're like active again. But it's a game that I like because you're active no matter whose turn it is, because you want to see what cards are being played and like what's in front of other people, so you know what to rule out when it comes to actually guessing what your card is.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mind it, to be honest. I didn't mind it because I'm sorry. I'm very straightforward. I don't like deduction games. And it's usually because half the time I don't know what's going on. My brain has now wandered off to something else completely. I need a game that holds my interest. That's the problem. Yep. So this is probably why I like worker placement. Like that's probably why I like Feld games, because they're all over the place. Do you know what I mean? You can just pick this, and do this. Deduction games, just I have difficulty with them. Mm-hmm. I liked this one. It was very cute. Once I figured out what was going on, it was cute.
Yeah, and deduction games are usually hard to explain too. Like, what's that one, that CGE game? I forget. It starts with an A. It's all about magic spells and trying to deduce. Alchemist.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough game. I've played it.
Oh,
that is a hard game. And I was really discouraged with it because I felt like I was going on the right track, and then and then my spells were all wrong, and I was like, where did I go wrong?
I had to write everything down. I was like, screw this. And I would write it down. And then, my problem was with that game was confidence. I was lacking the confidence in myself to debunk some of the theories that they had in the game. And I said to myself, oh, no, this is like, I should debunk this. And no, I don't want to look like an idiot. It could be wrong. And can I tell you, I kept all my notes. And one of the guys I was playing with, he's like, Mandi, these were amazing. They were all right. Why didn't you put them forward? I'm like, I was just nervous. You know what I mean? So that game kind of like made me nervous about like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely something I need to kind of figure out. I think that's a game I can easily learn a little bit more about deduction.
Yes, it's one I need to, maybe I just need to learn to appreciate it. I don't know, but I'm going to go to the chat if you guys don't mind. A couple of things going on here. So Jeremy has mentioned the Kickstarter. I know this is kind of a side note that apparently we need to check out. It's called End of Trail by Elf Creek Games. So something that he was saying is it's interesting poker and worker placement mechanic. So he's playing the prototype now. So that's definitely something maybe we could look at. So maybe we'll have another segment on Kickstarter because that did really well. So something to look forward to. Christopher talks about Ticket to Ride as the great gateway game that taught me how to quickly change between long-term strategic plans to reactionary tactical moves after my roots had been claimed. So yeah, see the second part of that, Christopher, that would be me. So I really... So Ticket to Ride for me is not a game that I enjoy, but I understand it's one of those games that needs to exist. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know what you guys think about that. Sure. Okay. So we're just scooching down here. So James says he uses card/teal counting in some games like King Domino. So this, I guess, is kind of what you were talking about, Caryl. And we have a question from Jeremy. How do you guys feel about deck building games? And they teach you a lot about games. So what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, it does. I play a lot of Star Realms. So I've learned a lot about the different factions, and I learned about how, like, when people are going towards certain factions, like how to counteract act that
Yeah.
and what's coming up in the market. So I always feel like that's my go-to deck builder right now. It's just I've learned so much from it, and I feel like I can apply that deck building skills to like other games, like how to cull better. Like that's the first thing I want to do when I get a deck builder. I'm like, all right, how do I get rid of these like bad cards in my hand, and how do I get better cards?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
I love deck builders. Like
do you?
all of them except for Dominion.
Do you like Legendary?
I've actually never played Legendary.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
I haven't played it either. So
okay. I like
okay.
deck builders where the market is like changing all the time. I can't think of the word, but like where it's always like in flux and like new things come out. I don't like it when it's a set market because
Right.
that doesn't create an interesting enough dynamic for me personally. Like I just kind of like it when like, I saw this person take that and just make a mental note that, that this thing is a wild that's happening somewhere that could affect me later on. But at the same time, I also like deck builders that are cooperative too. Like
Aeon's
what was
End.
it? Yeah, Aeon's End, yeah, which I think Jeremy just mentioned.
Yes,
and then,
he did, which I also really like.
Oh, and Harry Potter. That's a really good deck builder. I love it.
Harry Potter's good, and I wasn't expecting to like that one at all. I saw the art and I went, because I was wanting them to use original art, but then I kind of went by that. Like I said, okay, bypassed it, and the game was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it really encourages cooperation, and it's not like four people are doing their own kind of thing and just acting completely independently of their own. Like you need cooperation in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think you would definitely like the legendary encounters.
Oh yeah,
with the alien decks.
Ooh, yeah, that was the one I was looking at. If there was anyone to look at, it was that one or Buffy.
Oh, Buffy would be fun.
Yeah,
I do love Buffy, but I don't know about Legendary. Oh, here's one, and I'm glad you brought this up, Jeremy. Heart of Crown.
Haven't tried that one yet.
So I haven't played that one. I think it's by, is it Japanime Games? I'm pretty sure it is. They did another, I think they did another one. What was it? Kanto Kori. I think they did that as well. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So
yeah.
I have some issues with the art. Let's go there first.
Yeah.
The theme. So when I was younger, I used to be really into anime, Japanimation, like all that stuff. As I got older and I see some of the stuff that goes along, like you get to know what some of that stuff represents. I can't get past it. I'm sorry. So the gameplay was okay. I mean, I tried it. I ended up getting the app because a friend wanted to play it, and he loves it. And I played it with him, and I said, yeah, I get the appeal of the game. But honestly, playing the game in hand with that theme, I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. So Heart of Crown, it just kind of, I looked at it and kind of like instantly my mind went there. And I just said, I don't know if it's a type of game because of the art and the theme that I can get into. I could be prejudging. I don't know. Heart and Crown I have not played, but that's just where I'm coming from. What are your thoughts, you guys?
I'm not a fan of the art style either, personally. Like just the Lolita, very cutesy anime girl kind of thing. But I'm just looking at it from like pure aesthetics. Like I have no idea how the game actually plays, but in general, Japanime has never really been something that that personally appealed to me. But like I hear good things about Tentacori, and I think they even made a male version of Tentacori, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
That should be interesting.
That makes it any better.
Like, so I guess, I don't know. Annette, have you played any of those?
No. There's nothing really that kind of entices me to reach out and get those games. Like there's so many other games.
Yeah.
And just something like that kind of thing. I'm like, really? I don't want to collect maids.
Yeah, well, and this is it.
So exploitive. I just really have better time. You're
not wrong.
I don't know. I'm so negative about it, but I feel like it needs to be a negative fact because it's so exploitive. I don't have fun with that kind of stuff.
So Jeremy's asking how important theme is to us overall.
Well, obviously after this conversation, I'd say it's pretty important. Because I mean, honestly, like it literally ruined the game for me. Because the game mechanics in Tentacori were not bad, actually. So the game itself is good. I just couldn't get past collecting maids. It felt wrong. I just looking at the game, I said, you know what, it's just bothering me. So it would not, exactly what you were saying, it would not make me want to play it.
Yeah.
So I think it's important, but I don't know what you guys think about that, the theme.
I don't know. I play a lot of
general.
dry Euros, but because of the educational aspects of it and the history of those dry Euros, like that's what I like. Like people think it's dry and there's no theme, but I find theme in them. You know, I don't know. I like those games, and the heavily thematic games that most people are into, like fantasy and all these dice rollers, and you know, people call them Amerithrash or whatever, like heavy theme. Like I don't necessarily play those games because it's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's for me or not, but it's not like I don't like them. I don't really play them. But theme is important, I think.
Caryl?
Yeah, like for theme is really important because I think in a way, like theme is what attracts me to a game in the first place, because, you know, if it's a Euro, what's to distinguish one from another, or, you know, a deck builder one from another? Like if it's like the legendary games, why does, you know, Buffy or Firefly sell better than the Marvel one? Which is not a true fact. I'm just saying, you know, for example. You know, because like, you know, theme does have to have something that resonates with the person that's playing it, because, you know, you can't make a game for everybody that will just, you know, always please them. You can't have a game like Great Western Trail, for example, and, you know, have people, oh, actually, you know what, I'm gonna backtrack on that one a little bit, because I actually don't like the cowboy theme in Great Western Trail, but the game just is so good past that I didn't mind it at all. Okay.
Yeah.
Backpedaling a little bit. Theme matters. The subject matter, I think, is what's stronger to me. Like, you know, is this a poor message? Is this something that is just like high fantasy, like whatever, right? But there are some things that I can completely look past and see as just a game, but those are themes that wouldn't normally appeal to me. But when I look at something for the subject matter, it's very hard for me to look past that.
Yeah.
But I think you immerse yourself in a game. If you really enjoy a game, you are immersing yourself in that experience. So if it's a bad theme or it has a negative message, do you know what I mean? How do you insert yourself in that? I think that's where I have the problem, because if I'm talking about a game after and we're learning, like, oh, I learned this in this game, or I felt this in this game, that's really important. So I didn't get that with Tanto Core. You know, it did make me want to put on a maid's outfit and, you know, get traded. It didn't appeal to me. So, but there's a ton of comments here, actually.
Yeah,
so,
let's do this.
So Christopher, we'll start with him. Says, Stonemeyer Games taught me to give games with an abundance of components a chance. Previously, I would get overwhelmed with just looking at games and it scared me off. Viticulture changed my point of view. Viticulture, that's in my top 10. Amazing.
That's a good game. Yeah.
Love that game.
It's a really good game.
But glad to see that, because a lot of people look at a game, oh, no, I'm not going to play that just because there's too many components or whatever the case may be. So glad to hear that, you know, you gave it a shot. And then he says, after playing Viticulture, he jumps into Scythe and many others. I won't let games scare me off. These days, I will play anything that someone is willing to teach. So but that's great. Having an open mind like that means you're going to be open to trying different games. Jeremy talks about a game, Valletta. Valletta, yes, I did play that game. Yes, I played it with Nicole. No, did they sign with Cool Mini?
Yeah, that's a Cool Mini game.
Mini or not.
Really? Okay, because when I played it, it wasn't here yet. So that's the one with the deck building, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's with the deck building.
Yeah,
okay.
I haven't played it yet, but
we played it. I played it with Nicole, Caryl, when we at your event when I was in Toronto.
I saw someone brought that.
That was Nicole, Alex, Alan. No, who brought it? Anyways, Nicole had brought it and taught it to us. But he said some games like Valletta, such a good game, but totally blah on the theme. Yeah, I would have to agree on that. It's not really connecting, but the game itself was good. And he was saying too that he looks up the stories on games. So that's not, he doesn't completely dismiss the theme if he gets a background.
Okay.
Talks about theme will make me well, basically it doesn't force him to get rid of a game or not to buy a game. He likes Euros too, Euros with themes like Gold West. Pasted on, but love it.
Yeah.
I've not played Gold West. It's one of the black box, right?
Dark brownish.
Dark brownish.
TMG. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I haven't played it. Christopher goes on to say, I look at games the way I look at theater, movies, or television. Everyone has their own taste, but there are definitely people like myself that enjoy most style of games.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with that. You know, you're absolutely right. There are games made for different people, different tastes, 100%. And then James is going on to say he hasn't played like Secret Hitler, prefers to play Resistance or Avalon.
Sure.
You know, like in my group, Avalon didn't really fly, even though I liked it.
Yeah.
But
the theme of Secret Hitler is basically what, you know, I'm pretty sure Secret Hitler has like sold quite a lot of copies, and it's because of the theme. You know, people love like racy things or like taboo things.
Right. And then the last comment I'll read here from Christopher is, mood will dictate what sort of games he plays. A Euro feels many times like a period piece, like Downton Abbey. Great show, by the way. And I love it. Ameritrash games are like summer blockbusters. So like Michael Bay, is that?
Yeah. That's a really good comparison. I love that.
It's better than Michael Bay, honestly.
It's really good. What did you say, Caryl?
No, I wouldn't compare it to Michael Bay.
Ameritrash?
Yeah.
That's true. That Ninja Turtle movie was absolutely wretched. They were so scary. Anyways, I digress.
No, okay, let's say bad games that use a license as the Michael Bay of board games. I'm more comfortable with that.
Fair enough. All right.
Well, is there anything that going to the next question? Well, how has playing board games pretty much taught you to manage other things in your life? So I feel like going into that, it's just pretty much, I feel like board games has changed my life a lot in the sense that I feel like I'm a better planner. I feel like I can manage things a little bit better in my life, and just in general like that. Resource management, like time,
for sure.
Just resource management at work. I feel like there's so many things, like especially when we're doing this right now or we're making videos or chatting online, like you have to manage all that too in your life. And I feel personally like board games is kind of encourage that planning in me.
Right.
So is there anything else that you guys feel like board games has taught you too?
Patience.
That's good.
Patience and communication, and not necessarily from the game that we're playing itself, but from having to play with other people and to teach other people games. Like I'm the one who usually brings the games to game night if I'm playing with friends or whatever. And teaching games is a skill. It actually is, because it's, you know, you're communicating with someone and not everyone understands words the same way or like learns the same way. Some people are very visual. Some people can hear like 10 minutes of words and like absorb it all and know exactly how to play Lisboa right away without having any examples drawn or anything. And it's just, you know, also like understanding people and like what works in terms of getting everyone on the same page to understand how to play one mutual thing, where it's not like a video game where it's all very automated and, you know, like it'll do it for you kind of thing. So that's basically what board games has taught me, I think.
That's great. And Christopher, preach, Caryl, in caps.
Yeah.
No, it's very good.
That's really important. Like you say that, like it is, teaching games is an actual skill, because people don't really understand how much it takes out of someone to kind of read someone or figure out how they learn. You know, I'm a very visual person. So when I'm learning a game, like I need to see what's happening. I need to like see examples. I need to like touch things and stuff. And if someone's trying to talk to me and tell me something, I'm just kind of like in one ear, out the other.
Yeah,
Like, you need to show
I'm the
me.
same way.
Do we not remember Lisboa? Hello? Do you not see my face when we
Right.
first learned it? I get you. So, I mean, for me, I used to be a teacher. So for people who don't know, I used to teach elementary and middle school. So for me, I'm very patient. And I also, I suffer from ADHD and a little bit of anxiety. So I'm very open about this because it's things that I talk about and I volunteer with in the community. So for me, I'm the type of learner that I need to, exactly what you were saying, I need to see it. So I learn kind of techniques from other people. So I'm always interested to learn how other people play and what can I learn from what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? So it's a way to exercise my brain and learn a little bit better. So I find, because I was a teacher, there are certain things that I can implement and it's really useful. Like I like to be encouraging because I know what it's like when someone's rushing you or saying, okay, and I don't take a long time to play, but there are some people I see the way they talk to other people. I'm like, give them a minute. They're thinking, like their brain may not work as quickly as yours. They need to process so what you were talking about with patience, Caryl, that is huge. And that could literally destroy a game if people are not patient.
For sure.
You have to be like that. So that is, I think you nailed it with that. And respecting how people learn, respecting each other. So, I mean, yes, it's not directly related at the board game specifically, but as people, do you know what I mean? So maybe because I'm a teacher, I look at it from that point of view. And I've been there, where people are not so kind to you when you're trying to learn a game. And it's like, that's fine. Someone can talk to you and you can learn that game, but I don't learn like that. That person doesn't learn like that. So learning from other people, how they learn, or how they play a game. So for me, that is something that I've, come to develop, like, okay, I really like how you did that. Tell me how you did that, so I can try and implement that in my gameplay for next time. So, so that for me is huge, but I'm a feelings person. So I pick up on how people are versus like the actual gameplay, but the feeling for me is reflected in the gameplay. I always liken it to cooking because I do bake. And if you're ever feeling sad or if you're happy when you bake, you taste it in the food. It's very much the same with gameplay. I love Christopher. Can we get some Aretha Franklin respect playing up in here? I love you, Christopher. That's amazing. So before I get all like mushy, let's go back into the chat if you guys don't mind quickly. So time management. James is like time management is key. And I would definitely say that's huge. And we did touch on that. And Christopher says, since playing games, definitely more patient and aware of the state of mind of those around me. So exactly what I was talking about and what Caryl and Annette were talking about. Jeremy goes on to say, I found I'm an inefficient gamer and it made me start to change my work and home habits, but I'm still an efficient gamer. That's okay. I'm there too. You just gotta keep chugging along. And Jeremy goes on to say that he does train people by day, so he can probably understand kind of where I'm coming from a little bit. Let's see here. Oh, Christopher, I agree, Netters. I have trouble learning a game from just a rule book. I need the tactile and visual cues.
Yeah.
So I'm the same way. So I totally understand. Jeremy goes on to say, I watch other players and say to myself, why did they do that? I don't mind getting my butt kicked as long as I had fun and figured the game out. Yes, that's me. 100%. So yeah. And Martin, is it Martin? Martin Gavilan? Yes, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Hi, I always finish learning games when I play. There are things you can only understand in action. Magic the Gathering in particular is really hard in text only.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know. I played Magic like a little bit when I was younger. It was more my brothers. They really enjoyed it. But yeah, 100% you need to see that played.
Yeah.
So
understanding tapping for the first time, I'm like,
yeah.
And it's like,
yeah, exactly.
This. And then like lining up like your islands and stuff. It's just crazy how people have like a system, and if you don't follow that system that someone else has figured out, it's clear when like you're a newbie. It's like, oh, like all your stuff is all over the place. Like you just do it like this. I'm like, ooh.
Exactly. You just have to see it. So, and as long as, you know what, people just have to respect the different learning styles. That's all it is. Yeah.
Ooh, we're getting some more comments here.
Yeah. You want to go ahead, Caryl? I can.
Yeah. So Jeremy says, my Terraforming Mars experience in a nutshell.
Yep.
Christopher says, I think playing games has really shown me more how women are not always depicted and treated well by many men. Many are talked about or to as lesser than men, and it disgusts me. The hobby has brought the feminist out of me more than ever before. Oh.
But you know what? The fact that you can come to a realization like that and say, hey, oh my gosh, I never noticed. And wow, like it's not great. That in itself is progression.
Yeah.
Right? You go back and say, wow, I never noticed. And I see that. So to me, that's huge.
Yeah.
Especially because he's not part of that group. And you notice that, that's huge. That's a huge thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for noticing.
Yeah.
I know, right? We appreciate it. That's amazing. Hey, I'm all for that. And yeah, James, I lose often. Oh yeah, this one right here. But guess what? Always have fun. Ask Caryl. I'm always at the end of the game, like 99% of the time I'm losing, but I'm still laughing. I'm like, hey, great job, guys. We had fun.
Of course.
Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Exactly. I learned a few things and had fun doing it. That's what it's all about. Jeremy. Yep. I hear you.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. And so the comment is, Jeremy's just talking about, and it comes back to the inclusivity with, when Susan and I were talking about that and, being not one of the groups that are overwhelmingly at cons. I mean, we'll save that definitely for another topic because we do talk about that a lot. It's important. But yes, that is something that we will strive to talk about. As you can see, we're all, people of color or of different groups, and it's important. So definitely something that we will be talking about, always talking about. So thank you for talking and explaining touching on an experience, and glad that some of the discussions we've had, has touched or important to you. So thank you.
Yeah. And it's important to for everyone to kind of see like that this board gaming community is made out of just different types of people. And like you said, Caryl, like it's all about being patient and like understanding like who we all are. And the more so than any other hobby, like board gaming is all about sitting at the table with friends and sitting at the table and just playing this game together and having fun with one another. And you don't know who these people are, but if you are willing to open your mind and kind of figure out these things on the table, I mean, you'll gain more friends if you just have an open mind. So
absolutely,
it's really important that we also just mention that to everyone that we're a part of this all-inclusive gaming group. So definitely, if you see us around anywhere, just say hi and just encourage others to come to the table and play games with you, because that's all about gaming.
Yeah. So and Jeremy, I'm reading your comment here, and it's all about education.
For sure.
If you're able to educate someone and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling about something, I'm telling you, the people that I end up talking to a con about inclusivity and education of games and education of in general about that, it's not who you would think. I literally talk to a lot of white males, and they'll come up to me and they're like, I can't believe you and Suzanne were treated like that. Or, this happened to someone of a different race, or, they had no idea. And they were saddened, and they wanted to know more about what things could they do to change that. So they are, and it's on topic, educating themselves. And to me, that's a progression in the right direction. So all we can do is keep being, as Caryl said, patient and educate. Yeah.
And learn. Yeah. Just learn from one another.
Yeah. Exactly. And learn. There's nothing wrong. You're never too old to learn new things, right? So, but, Christopher, I love watching, listening to you wonderful women talk about these fantastic and interesting topics. It's all about coming together as a community, broaden horizons, and have a good time. Respect. Summed it up nicely.
Definitely.
Yeah. Aw, you guys are going to make me cry. Oh.
Yeah, I've loved doing this chat, and even though we touch on these small subjects and whatever, we always come down to this main agenda that we have, and it's just like being all inclusive and just being cool with one another and catching up with one another and seeing where we're all coming from. And even though we play games or whatever, I mean, it's the small thing compared to like what we're developing as a whole group and community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Annette, I got to tell you, we've been talking since like even Caryl, like day one, Caryl too. And like, things have changed and we're still sending out the same positive, or trying to send out the same positive message, and we're still on it. Like, we haven't given up on that. So I think that's important that we continue to do it. So yeah.
All right. So is there anything else that you guys want to add to this chat?
Yeah, I think it's
I think it's
good. I think the chat ended really well.
Yeah, I think we ended on a positive note here, but I guess we can just pretty much tell each other like where we're from and where we can be found, and we'll go ahead and start with you, and Caryl.
Yeah, so you can find me on To Die For Games, the channel we're on right now, doing some reviews of Mandi as well as some animation. And you can find me online on social media on Twitter and Instagram as @CarylHasNoTan.
Yay.
Or Caryl has a small tan right now.
Yeah,
it's a very small one. You can see. Yeah, it's really bad on camera. I swear, it's not that bad in real life, but it's very bad on camera.
And Mandi, where can we find you?
Yeah, so sorry, spamming the chat hard. Do you have a schedule for these live things? Sorry, before I jump in. So we try and do them monthly. I'm not gonna lie, I've probably been the one that's been the most hard to reach, so I apologize, but I know it's something that we can potentially discuss to continue with a regular schedule. And yeah, Christopher has now said he would love a schedule. So we'll keep you posted. So keep an eye on our Twitter, like mine or Annette or Caryl, and we'll put something out. Okay. So I apologize, it hasn't been more regular. That's really my fault. So we'll definitely look into that. So thank you for the interest. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you can find me To Die For Games here. You can also find me on Instagram as Board Gaming Pinup Girl, on Twitter, Board Gamer Pinup Girl. Also, you will see us on Facebook as To Die For Games. And additionally, we have a Twitch channel. If you like some live playthroughs, you can check us out there as well on Board Gaming Pinup. And finally, the Dice Tower, doing contributions there. And we have the bi-weekly podcast that I do with Suzanne Sheldon. Our next episode is episode 523, and it is supposed to air not this coming Tuesday, but the next. So keep your eye out for that.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you are a busy lady. I mean, there's a Dice Tower thing going on now with Suzanne, so that's wonderful. That's great.
Oh, thank you. You guys have been awesome.
Yeah. And so my name is Annette. I'm also Nettersplays all over the internet. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube as well. I also contribute to the Dice Tower on Board Game Breakfast and also on the Game of the Month. And I also do Meeples Included, which is a big community about pretty much inclusivity and making it aware that all of us are gamers, no matter who, what, or whatever we are. And so, yeah, so you should check out Meeples Included as well. And then the Instagamers Network, which is on a break right now, but we're trying to ramp up everything again. So definitely you could find me all over the internet.
That's a good thing.
And Board Game Gizmo too. So
yes,
he's my
Gizmo.
pet bird, and I made him a Twitter and Instagram account.
Where is Gizmo? Is he sleeping?
No, he's far. He's not sleeping. He's in the next room chatting away. I have him hiding. He's like
Aww.
in the next room with Mitch.
Next chat.
Yeah.
Bring him on.
Yeah, he's crazy though. I don't know if I can handle him in an hour's worth.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it till next month when we potentially have a plan.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you all over the internet. You can find us all over the place. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining us, and thanks Mandi and Caryl for being a part of this awesome chat group too.
Oh, thank you. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye everyone.
Guys.
Bye.